Um, Hello, and welcome to a new edition of My View. Today's topic is going to be a wrestling podcast, and in particular, the interview that everybody is talking about, Colt Cabana interviewing CM Punk, and there's actually lots of podcasts that are out there, really good podcasts. There's Stone Cold Steve Austin, or as I like to call him, Stone Cold Steve Austin. There's Chris Jericho. There's Jim Ross. There's Colt Cabana, and it's all basically interconnected with the wrestling promotions themselves, and so the wrestling promotions get publicity and the podcasters get publicity. It's no accident that Triple H did a shoot interview with Chris Jericho, and then CM Punk does his interview with Colt Cabana, which it's 3 hours. The first hour and 48 got 1 million views, and the second hour is kind of struggling through 89,000 views. So that probably tells you something. And of course, then Stone Cold Steve Austin interviewed Vince McMahon on December the 1st. Now, it's no coincidence that all of those interviews happened in the 3 months, and they featured top superstars with finally the big boss himself. And so it's all about sort of getting people watching the podcast, and then getting people to watch the wrestling product, which is cool. Because the thing with the WWE is that whether the show has got CM Punk or John Cena or Daniel Bryan on, that they can pretty much count on getting a viewership between 3.2 and 4.2 million people. On a bad day, it's like 3.2. On a really good day, it'll go to like 4.2. But it never kind of drops below that or above that. And so they have sort of got sort of like a guaranteed audience that that they know that they can pretty much put anything on for like a week or 2 weeks, and they'll still have that sort of set audience. Now, what they're trying to do is grow the audience. It's to push beyond that for 4.2 million mark, and sort of the podcast is one way of doing that. Personally, I think that if the WWE or whoever wants to increase their audience base, they should be reaching out for the male fans. And reaching out to sort of women fans, because all the fans of wrestling seem to be guys, And and I think I'm correct in saying that the second or third highest rated in terms of viewership a match in Raw history was a straight wrestling match between Trish Stratus and Lita. And the women's matches then were getting huge numbers, and they were straight wrestling matches. But the WWE kind of squandered that opportunity. Now, America has the largest female soccer support base in the world. I mean, there are literally millions of young women who are playing women's soccer in America. There's millions. So there's millions of sport-orientated young girls out there, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20-year-olds who are sport-orientated. So, you can reach out to those viewers and to actually watch wrestling, but you're not going to do that with just like a minute and a half matches with where you've got scantily clad females. You've kind of gotta AJ Lee is like a prime example of how a female wrestler can still be still be sexy, can still be very attractive, and still appeal to the female viewer. Brie Bella is very much the same. Nikki Bella and kind of pushes over to the appealing to guys more than women. But all of the female wrestlers in the WWE at the moment are superb athletes, and they have the ability to reach out to that female audience. And at the moment, the WWE are basically ignoring 50% of the American viewership. That's the way that you've got to look at it. They are ignoring 50% of the American viewership. So, if you want to grow your audience, that's one way. They talked about Cesaro stalling, and it's like, well, Cesaro's stalling because they're not giving him the proper creative side. I mean, Cesaro would be great in a feud against, I don't know, Rusev, or in a feud against, say, actually, Cesaro would be really good in a feud against Dean Ambrose. So, and sort of that would work. Because they could have some really good matches. And I've not really thought it through. And Bray Wyatt, I mean, like I don't like the Bray Wyatt character, but sort of, and then I was thinking, well, um, he could, he could like to really go over, because he doesn't seem to be connecting all that well. He could kind of like attack Triple H and sort of kidnap Stephanie, and kind of like make Stephanie's sister Abigail, and like he could like I mean, like my idea for like a Bray Wyatt would be to like attack Jerry the King Lawler and JBL, and to like take them out, and then like he just does like a 3 hour colour commentary stint on Raw, and then sort of you can get that kind of thing of, oh well, like the wrestlers are wrestling, but they're kind of looking over at Bryant. They're thinking, well, is he going to attack us? And like Bryant can be like a mainstay presence in like each match to kind of get heat, and then kind of like you can feed in, people like Cesaro, Dean Ambrose, Rusev, Sheamus, to kind of share the heat, and so everybody gets pushed in like one 3 hour Raw show. That would be different to like the normal Raw, and if you do it correctly from a creative point of view, it would have that kind of suspense element all throughout the 3 hours, and it'll keep people watching through the whole 3 hours just to see, well, what's gonna happen here. I mean, like, you could have like new members of like the Wyatt family. You could have like Sister Abigail / Stephanie. You could have like Triple H, for fighting to get his wife back. I mean, that is a very kind of visceral storyline that's going to connect with a lot of people. Here's a guy who's fighting to get his wife back, and so that was like my sort of like grand idea. And I know, like, I don't think that Cesaro is stalling as well, because if Cesaro is stalling, it means that in guys like Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns are stalling as well, but because he was kind of on the same sort of upward curve as them, and then they suddenly had him like come out every week on Raw and do jobs for pretty much the whole roster. So anyway, but basically the podcast I really liked, because they actually give you like a clue as to how the business works, like behind the scenes, and so they were really informative. So yeah, I mean, Punk talked about the reasons, why sort of like he left, and blah blah blah. But the very fact that he's doing this Colt Cabana interview in the free November month, in conjunction with all these other interviews, shows that he clearly realizes that his basic fan base is wrestling base, and so he has to stay in touch with them. So um, you just kind of like throw in a few kind of stuff, from like genuinely what happened, and you kind of put a spin in on it, and then you sort of present it in his way. Vince McMahon, he's gonna present his side in his way, and so like no, I'm like a big Hi-Fi fan, and like in Babylon 5, that has like a saying, the truth is a triple-edged sword. There's your version, there's their version, and then there's the truth. CM Punk will swear that something happened. Vince McMahon will say, well, something didn't happen, and then there's the truth to show that, like both of their versions never happened, and something completely different happened. And so, don't, when you're listening to a podcast, you kind of have to take everything with, like a grain of salt. Having said that, I sort of, I'd be terrible on like a podcast, because like I'd be kind of like sat there going, "You lying sons of bitches! I never said that. I'm gonna, I'm gonna, and I'd be like headbutting the bloody microphone, and it's just, it'd be very entertaining though. Anyway, so I'm gonna keep this short, and so that's my view on wrestling podcasts. Watch them; they're quite good, and so see you later.